Catching up with Sarah and Ginny, fueled by laughter and insights aplenty. Curiosity, connection, and learning that sticks. Real talk, real lives with practical tips. Welcome to Catching Up with Sarah and Ginny. Come on in.
Hello and welcome to another episode of Catching Up with Sarah and Ginny. And we are thrilled today that we have got Susan Tooze, as in booze. There we go, Susan. What a great introduction. I just said off camera, get me, how do we say your surname? Is it Tooze, as in booze? And she was like, yeah, no one's ever said that before, Ginny. So I'm owning it. So there we go. Welcome, Susan. Can you tell us who you are and what you do, please?
Thank you. Yeah, yes, I can. And hi, Ginny. Hi, Sarah. Great to be here. I have listened to a lot of your podcasts, as you know. I'm Susan Tooze, as in booze, as Ginny says. I head up the London and East Partnership teams at Academy 21. Academy 21 are the UK's leading provider of online alternative provision. We've been going since 2011, and we were the first online alternative provider to be accredited by the DFE under the OES, which is the accreditation scheme for online providers. And to get that, we had to go through a 2-day Ofsted inspection. So we were very pleased with the outcome of that. I've been working with Academy 21 for 10 years now, 10 years this month, in fact. So I know we're all looking forward at change, but I took a moment to have a quick look back at change and the things that have changed in the 10 years that I've been in this space. The number one I think that comes to mind is when I first started doing this, primary referral reason was behaviour reasons. It's absolutely not that now. It's anxiety and IPSA now. So that's just one of the things that have changed. So I work with schools, SEND teams, local authorities, MATs across London and the East to support them to choose the right support at the right time for their young person. And that might very well be online provision at some point in their education journey. Academy 21 lessons are all delivered live online with UK qualified teachers, and they're in small groups of similar abilities. So we work with schools to find the right fit for their child and for their budget, indeed. So a flexible solution that's tailored for the children.
Wow. Wonderful. Thank you for that. Actually, that's really interesting to find out a bit more myself as well. Because I think that's the beauty as well with sometimes the podcast is you get to speak to amazing people and then you get to really find out a bit more around the organisation. So thank you. Within that, and within those 10 years or prior to that, have you got a wow moment that you'd like to share with us?
I did have a wow moment. Yes. So it actually happened last year. So in my job, I hear about all the great things that we do and the outcomes. But usually my connection is with the school staff. But last year I worked on a project. And it was in East London, and it was with a physical alternative provision. So they work with some of the most vulnerable young people in East London, and the founders of that were quite forward thinking, and what they decided to do was partner with us as a hybrid solution. Academy 21 was delivered on site in a classroom in the morning, and then the young people went off to do sports and hair and beauty, and they had tutors on site to support them. So it was a lovely setup, and I was on site on the first day. So that was a mini wow moment in itself. So I met the young people, and you might imagine, it's not cool to be excited, is it? As a teenager, they weren't excited. They were a bit reluctant. They were a bit unsure, maybe skeptical of this new learning platform that had been brought in for them. But I was actually there when they started to do the lesson. So it was really nice to see my colleagues, the teachers, delivering. And one young lady stood out to me. I'm getting on to my wow moment. She stood out to me in that she engaged straight away. She was chatting with the teacher. She formed a relationship with her straight away. She was writing notes in her book, and she was calling out to her peers to listen to their teachers. So that was really nice to see her engage. But the wow moment came about 3 months later when I went back on site to see how it was doing. And it was in that moment she was able to articulate how much difference it had made to her. So she said things like she thought that people had given up on her, that she hadn't thought she'd be able to get any GCSEs, and now she thought she could get a 4 or 5. She said that she was able to go home at the end of the day and tell her mum that she'd learned something. So that's my wow moment, is actually me hearing it from a student's mouth herself, really.
And I think that's so powerful, because it is, sometimes we get lost in kind of like looking at provision, looking at where we're going to spend our, the finances maybe that we haven't got. And actually it's that, what's the impact? And the impact there is, I thought people had given up on me. And actually, at whatever stage of their life, for our young people, that is one of the most powerful things. And we talk a lot about that, Ginny, don't we? About connection, and that someone actually is just listening and is aware that there's something in me that I just need a bit of help to get out. And actually, in this case, it's doing the GCSEs. I love that. That's brilliant.
Yeah, it was so powerful. And the thing is that shows us that, one size doesn't fit all.
No, doesn't.
For every child in education, does it?
Yeah.
And it is that impact, and we talk about the small things making a big difference. And actually, in this case, it became a big thing making a big difference. But actually, it's just those little things can add up, can't they? And a child going home talking about school when I'm guessing they hadn't before, that's huge as well. And I think sometimes in our roles we can be a little bit removed, can't we, from schools and from children because of everything else that we have to do. So, and I love it, just getting into the classroom, seeing the children and seeing their reactions. It's just a joy. Susan, I always call it my yum yum time, when I can get into the classrooms and be with the children.
Yeah.
So that is brilliant. Thank you so much. So moving on, if send were a song, what would it be and why?
Wow, this should be my favorite question. And I probably overthought it. Music, it was really important to me. Music's one of those things where I think everyone who's touched my life somehow has left me a song or an artist. That's just how I feel. That just music is really important. I can trace things back. So with that in mind, it shouldn't have been that difficult, should it? But in the end, it wasn't difficult. So one of the other things that I do outside of my job, but with their blessing and their support, I'm a mentor, volunteer mentor for MCR Pathways, which is a charity that supports vulnerable or care experienced young people to have 1 hour a week with a mentor. I was matched. I've been doing it for 4 years, but the young lady who I've got at the moment, I was matched because music was one of our interests. So I'm going to therefore I'm going to draw on the inspiration from her to give you a song, and the song that I'm going to give you is "Good Luck Babe" by Chapel Roan. Not because I'm trying to be young and trendy, because I'm not. But because
Bring our list a little bit. It's good, yeah.
She introduced me to this artist, so that's something I got out of mentoring a young person. And the reason why I chose it was, although perhaps the themes of that song are very specific, what they talk about is someone that's different, somebody that is feeling that they're forced to conform, somebody that's trying to fit the norm, because that's what they feel that's needed. And I think that some of those themes actually do have a parallel to our young people in SEN, in education, where they're trying to fit into a model that perhaps doesn't suit them, or whether they feel they have to. So I think that's one reason why I chose it. And the second reason is, I guess that's my message out there to everybody at the moment. We've just finished putting in our opinions and our thoughts on the SEN reform. So to those young people at the centre of that, to their parents, to their carers, to their SEN workers, good luck, babe, I say to you all. Let's look at this with optimism, and let's hope you get what you need from it.
Oh, I love that. I love that. And it's absolutely, it's so true, isn't it? It's just the power of music and the power of song. I love the fact that you do that mentoring as well. Was it
MCR Pathways. It's started in Scotland, but it's now in certain local authority areas in England,
I love that.
including Hertfordshire, where I'm based. Yeah, and they match it. It's as I say, for care experienced or otherwise vulnerable, disadvantaged young people, and it's basically their terms. What do they want to talk about in an hour every week? But
And again, how wonderful, because it can give that chance for connection, to have that
Yes.
opportunity. And again, someone's listening and it's what they want to talk about as well. That the power of that. It's amazing. I absolutely love that. And I look forward to listening after these interviews. We always kind of go back and listen to the songs again, Ginny, don't we? Because you often kind of hear the songs, but actually then when you start to pay attention to the lyrics and then the meaning behind that, because they're stories, aren't they? Everything's
this
they're telling
story,
them something. So
yeah,
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 I
And
love
I
that.
think this idea of the fact that you were connected with this individual because of your joint love of music is great, because that gives a language, the language of music. And then what I also love, Susan, is the fact that the song is a song that's been brought into your life by an individual, and it's possibly a song that you wouldn't have known about if you hadn't this connection with the individual. I just love the whole the whole story behind it, and it's about looking for connection. And Sarah and I always talk also about remembering. I'm sure every time you chat with this young person, you have a conversation about music, you have a conversation about that song, about a song that you spoke about before. And I talk so much about the spider's web of trust, about keeping those connections going. So it just fabulous. Thank you so much for that song.
Yeah, I love it.
you're
I love it.
welcome.
And I'm interested. Sorry, go on, Susan. What were you going to
I
say?
was going to say no. We must thank my young mentee for that song. Actually,
Yes.
Absolutely. And we'll look forward to listening to that one on the Spotify playlist. Just sort of like thinking around that, I look forward to hearing this. But in terms of a book, is there a book that you want to share with us or talk to us about?
yeah, there is, and I might be going slightly off your normal theme here. What I've gone for is a book that I loved when I was a child, and it's Ballet Shoes, and it's by Noel Streatfeild. And what I loved about that book at the time, and what I still love about that book, is for anybody who doesn't know the story, it's three orphaned well, they were babies, three orphaned babies, young ladies, who grow up in London, and it's set in the 30s, I believe it is. And they experience in times of poverty, and it really shows the power of coming together as a family, but also um, even in those times, one of the young ladies didn't take a conventional path. She moved into an engineering field. And what is one of the books that always inspired me when I was young, to think if you wanted something, it could happen. Um, but you've got to want it, and you've got to work hard for it. But it could happen. And so that book stayed with me. I mean, I've had to have two copies. I read it so many times. So I think even in today's times, there's something you can draw from it, from the strength of a family coming together, from individuals taking different pathways. And it's been brought to the stage. I saw it, the
Wow.
National Theatre brought it. Yeah, I know, it's fab. Brought it to the stage, and I saw it year before last at South Bank. And what was kind of like a goosebump moment was when I looked around the audience, and there was lots of women of a certain age, with their children. Well, probably actually probably say their grandchildren, for their grandsons as well as their granddaughters. And it was brought to the stage very sympathetically, but modernized. And I think the themes in it remain very relevant and inspiring today.
I love that. Ginny,
Yeah.
have you read Ballet
No,
Shoes? No,
no.
I'm gonna look that one up, Susan, which is always, oh, look.
Oh, oh.
I always
Well, people listening, we're all going, oh, because Susan is showing us the book.
cover. From the National Theatre. I
Oh.
love
There you
that.
go. Yes, sorry, that probably doesn't come over well on a podcast, but there's
No, no, but
there's a
no, no,
little.
that's fine. I explain. What I love is the power of books
Yes,
from our
Yeah,
childhood. And once again, this
yeah,
is a common theme that runs
yeah.
through. And I just think it's really fascinating that we have those books from our childhood, those battered, loved books. But like I have these books, and I didn't realize till quite recently they've stayed with me, Susan. They've come with me along my childhood to my adulthood journey, and they mean so much, don't they? And for it to be now on stage,
Yeah,
I bet
amazing.
I bet that was another wow moment when you were
That
like,
was another. I mean, I could have given you that one. Absolutely, that was a wow moment. I had about three that I was. What one
"Great,
shall I? What one shall I give to you? But that's one of them, and also the progress that my young mentees made. That was another
yes,
wow
yes."
moment. If I
And
look
I
back.
think I think it's great as well because we talk a lot when we talk about books about that kind of multimodal way into kind of literacy, and it is that power of seeing things on the stage, seeing things brought to life, but also the deeper kind of thinking you do around the fact that is that how I thought things looked? Is that the kind of obviously it's open to somebody else's interpretation, but
Mm,
all the conversations around that I think are so powerful. And actually, again, just making sure what can we do in schools, like how can we make sure that our young people get that opportunity, bringing it into the classroom but also coming out of the classroom. I mean, the South Bank, you've just taken me back about 20 years. I used to live in South London, and we used to go up to god, I'm trying to think of the, oh gosh, lots of the things that used to happen on the South Bank. Was it Ken Livingstone? You used to have loads
yeah, the
loads of
things.
things,
Yeah,
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 happening around there, and just generally all the power that provides, the connections and that learning, that deeper learning around things. But yeah, I love that. Oh,
yeah. It's
Susan,
interesting when you look back at it as an adult as well. So
yes,
it stays with you in one way, as you said, Ginny, and then you look at it with
yeah,
perhaps with more mature eyes.
yeah,
And there are bits that perhaps don't resonate as well, but there are bits that do still stay true, and you can see it in a completely different way. And
yeah,
that's the power of a book, isn't it?
yeah, and that's
Reading's always been a passion of mine.
yeah, and that's the power that we want to kind of capture continuously with all of our young people. That's why it's such a importance, the national, the year of reading, and really kind of trying to emphasize that power of the story and bringing it to life as much as possible. No, wonderful. Thank you for that, Susan. That's great.
And I think the idea of revisiting texts over time,
Yeah, yeah,
it's not that we've read that book, so actually you need to move on. It's the power of revisiting books with family, revisiting books when you're in a classroom with your friends. I know Sarah is very much for this, reading books together so that you can have
yeah. The
those
connection.
chats about them.
Yeah.
Yeah, thank you so much, Susan, because it's so much about what reading is about and should be about, isn't it, Sarah?
Yeah, yeah, yeah. And it's that revisiting as well. See, behind me, for those who were listening, I've got the Mad Hatter's Teapot. But I mean, I've got loads of Alice in Wonderland. I mean, Alice in Wonderland was one of my favourite books as a child. I've yet to see it on stage, actually, anyway. You've made me really think then. You've
Yeah.
made me think around, yeah, I need to look out for that. I know that my son recently was quite keen on, Studio Ghibli books, the, I can never say it, Totoro stories, anime. Amazing, amazing. It was brought to life and was on stage in London recently, and we went to see it. And he's 10, and now he's obsessed. And we've just recently found the cookbook and he doesn't like reading. He isn't into books. We found the cookbook, so now I don't cook. But he wants to find out about some of these Japanese recipes that we're going to make, little bento rice boxes and things. But it's again that power of harnessing that interest and finding that interest, and then like kind of like almost diving down the little rabbit holes that or warrens that it will take you to.
Mhm.
Keep that interest in learning. And I think, yeah, that's key.
And then the other thing, obviously, that we have to speak about is how a book may be different to when it is on the stage or
Mm.
when it is, I mean, going slightly off, but when it is a film, and actually having those conversations about, do I like that? Do I not like
Mhm.
that?
Yeah,
But that's all really, really important to have those conversations about what you do like, what you don't like, how you would have done it differently. It's just great, like Sarah says, to have it in so many different mediums.
yeah,
I have a
one.
thing where I always like to read the book first. If I could possibly help it, if I see a film but I know there's a book, I'll say, hold it, I want to read the book first, because to me, that's how I form the character in my head.
Yeah.
That's what
Yeah.
paints the picture. But then, of course, it does mean I could judge the film a little bit more harshly if I don't see that they portrayed the characters in the way that I think they should.
Yeah.
But to me, I can always get a little bit more from a book, I think, than a film. That's personal.
Well, it's our own film in our head,
Yeah.
isn't it? You know, that's how it is. Oh, Susan, this has been absolutely brilliant. And I just love this idea of connections. It's come through so strongly, hasn't it, Sarah? The connections with individuals, with music, with books, with our past. It's all just like a lovely little gift box with a little bow on it for us, Susan. So thank you so much. And as we always say, Sarah, it's always a pleasure.
Never a chore. Thank you. Thanks, Susan.
Thank you.
Thank you guys. It's been a pleasure. Thank you.
Thanks for joining us this time on Catching Up with Sarah and Ginny.
Always a pleasure and never a chore.